Okay, well, guess we're going to do this display capture. Alright, so once again, I am ObiPEZ. This is N Simplex Pachinko, and tonight is a gaming night. I am here for After Hours, and we're going to be playing Elite Dangerous, looking at some of the community goals that have just popped up for a renewal. We did have a few community goals last time I played, so a week ago, but they were fairly light and they just ended a couple of days ago. So if we pop over to the Starport Services, and this is available for anyone to do, I would recommend that you have at least some combat training if you're going to do the combat missions. However, there is also on the mission board, under community goals, there is the combat. Yep. So this is the combat goals. So it gives you a whole rundown of what exactly is supposed to happen. The community is supposed to run security for or against a bunch of pirates in system. We return all of our bounties to the Spirit of Leylops, which is a command ship. And currently there have been 105 billion credits worth of bounties turned in. Maybe that includes the goals from last week as well. I'm not sure exactly. I have turned in a total of 101,025 credits because I just did one ship last night. I might have taken out a few, but I only stayed on for a very short time. I was just trying to get my name on the list to make sure that I had a bounty at the very least. At the bottom here we see that if you do not contribute but you still sign up, you get nothing. If you contribute literally anything, so you are a part of the top 100 pilots, or 100% of all pilots, then you receive 1 million credits, subject to change, plus global awards. The global awards are awarded based on the tier that the community reaches. Currently, the community is at tier 4, working on its way up to tier 5. If you're part of the top 100%, you get 1 million credits. Top 75% is 16 million credits. Top 50%, 32 million, 48 million. Top 10% is 80 million. Top 10 commanders total get 128 million and get all the global awards. There is also bonuses if you are the top 75% of participants, since we have reached Tier 1, will receive a permanent Sirius System permit and a Cobra Mark III acceleration white paint job. Top 25% will additionally receive a Cobra Mark III acceleration gold paint job and should be processed and accessible, blah blah blah, etc. by the 13th of March. So we have a grand total of 5 days left to try to make the top 75%. I should be able to do this, but I will admit I am not particularly good at combat, so I'm just going to check my hold here for a sec. So my cargo hold has currently nothing in it, which is what I want. Alright, the second is to deliver supplies to the Galactic Summit. I am much better at this one. I've already made the top 25%. This will naturally slip if I just left it here all week, but I have already done roughly 6.6 thousand tons worth of goods have been shipped to Spirit of Leylops from various systems around. I will mostly be highlighting probably 2, maybe 3 systems that I'm going to go to. Only about 5,000 commanders have even attempted this, and around 23 million tons of goods have been collected. So right now I'm looking at possibly getting about 12 million credits and global awards. The really awesome stuff about this, alright, so it's looking like I will also receive, as long as I keep it up, I will also receive a permanent Serious System permit and the Cobra Mark III acceleration white paint job. I hope, I hope. Oh, and the top 10 participants in this one will receive an Imperial Clipper, which is pretty decent ship. Normally you have to get really high reputation with the Empire in order to get that. Okay, so again, I'm going to show off some of the delivering supplies, what I've got here as my rig, but for right now, let's just double check the outfitting real quick. So, hard points I know are going to be good. This is as best I can do with the Python at the moment. I have two large 3C multi-cannon hardpoints, a 3E pulse laser, and a small or medium beam laser 2D, and 2B seeker missile rack. These give a pretty decent number before you have to reload them. That's 18. So you can fire off 18 missiles before you reload. They travel at a speed of 625 meters per second, which is pretty good. And we're looking at damage of, where is it? It's explosive damage. Yeah, armor piercing rating of 60. Yeah, damage 40. So it does a fair amount. It's not like tremendous, but at the same time, the last one I had was a torpedo rack. I could only carry 2 torpedoes at a time. So I figured heat seekers like this would be better at the very least. And let's just double check real quick. Do we have better? No, we don't have anything better in the pulse laser department. We could try maybe a railgun. That's a tier 1 though. I want a tier 2. Burst laser. I only got 2F, which for the most part isn't really helping my damage per second. Plasma accelerator. I've only got a fixed, so I would have to actually be shooting. Yeah, I'd have to make sure I was shooting correctly and actually hitting it myself, I think. Fragment cannons, I did shoot this before. It's kind of fun. You get a turret, which can fire. It could be fun. Armor piercing is only down a little bit, and this fires essentially a flechette round, which just shotgun blasts out in space. You only get 3 per clip. That's interesting. Ammo clip size is 3, and it shoots 4.3 per second, so looks like you'd have to reload pretty much every second. Anyway, we can maybe think about that later, but for right now we got enough here. Let's see, core. Our power plant is currently not taxed, so we don't really have to worry about that. And it's a 6B, which is pretty good. We got bulkheads, currently lightweight alloy, which give us a minus 20% kinetic, and a minus 40% explosive, and a hull boost of 80%. So if we went with, for instance, the military grade composite, it's a massive hull boost, but at the same time, it's not going to do anything for any of the other stuff. The mirrored surface composite is going to increase the thermal resistance but decrease both the explosive and kinetic, and the reactive surface is going to increase the kinetic and explosive resistance but decrease the thermal resistance. Reinforced is, again, just more hull, which is good, but I don't particularly need it in especially since that's going to increase the mass, which is also going to decrease top speed. Only by a couple of meters per second, so it's not that bad. But it will also decrease the jump range capacity and the boost. Again, not much for the boost speed, that's probably fine. These other ones also decrease jump range as well. So, lightweight alloy is our best friend at the moment. As long as we don't come into a whole bunch of trouble. And how are we doing on... Can never remember exactly what I want. One of the other problems here is that basically I'm just going to be getting like hull reinforcements, and that's about it. There's not really a whole lot that I could do. I mean, I also just don't know how to work this thing really well, so, you know. Could probably put in a shield cell bank right at the beginning here into 6B. We'll store the current module, which is again a cargo rack, so we'll use that eventually. And we'll take out the 5Es at the moment to put in hull reinforcements. So again, you can see that this increases the all resistances and increases the hull reinforcement. It's going to decrease top speed and boost, again, not a surprise. And it's going to actually increase the jump range because the cargo racks do kind of a number on your cargo capacity. Or sorry, they increase your cargo capacity, but they do a number on your jump range. And then I'm just going to swap this up for the cargo rack there. It's not really doing anything, it's just moving the order in which they fall. So, and actually I'm going to move it up one more. Put the shield generator at the top, and then the rest of it can go under. And come to think of it, what do we have for shield generators? I don't think we have much. Yeah, we've only got level 3 here. I need level 6 in order to really do anything good. So that's not going to happen. And I'm not jumping anywhere, so I don't need to get any of that other stuff. I got a frameshift drive interdictor in case I need to take anyone down. I got a hull reinforcement package 3. We can do another one here. Oops. Okay, and I think that's probably enough for right now. Alright, there's a module that's in a fire group that I changed, specifically the shield cell bank. That should be put in its own fire group. We'll do secondary fire on that one and primary on frameshift drive interdictor. We'll take it off there. So that's going to... Alright. So that'll be C. So if it looks like my shields are about to fall, I gotta jump over 2 spaces and grab the shield cell bank in order to boost it back up to full, or near full anyway. Alright. Alright, it looks like I got 6 charges out of it. Should be enough. We can hope. Yeah, again, one of the problems is I'm not very good at combat, so we'll just see how this goes. So one of the things that I'm going to do is just kind of mosey around the system a little bit and be on the lookout for pirates who are at certain locations. So I'm just going to thruster up, take out landing gear, boost, and put the throttle up. And at this point, once you clear the station, you can start looking for targets. So in navigation, we're going to come over here. And this is panel number 1. It's the left-hand panel. It tells you all sorts of stuff about navigation, any missions that you currently have open. So we have the defense and deliver supplies. I also have this assassination mission, which happened like a long time ago, that I just haven't picked up the reward for, and any contacts that are currently in the area. You see right here we have a high energy frameshift drive wake. If you have a scanner, you can chase after this person. And the Spirit of Laylaps, you can also request docking. We've already done that, but at any rate. Alright, we could go to Patterson Enterprise, which is the other station, but honestly, why bother? We've just come from one. The briefcases are emails that are spitting into your information. So in this particular case, for instance, we have in this particular case, New Drive Technology is actually a tourist spot that you were able to look through it and collect information. And these messages expire in 30 days, so just kind of collect them, take a look at them. It's interesting stuff for lore. Alright, under 1, we're going to head over to the distress call. This is almost guaranteed. This is a bunch of pirates who have sent out a fake distress call and are planning on jumping whoever comes into their area. This is one of the reasons that I said I'm going to make sure that I have nothing in my hold. So most of the time they scan me and go, ugh, really? Why did I even bother? Alright, you want to keep full throttle until we get close to about 10 seconds remaining on the counter at the bottom. Once we get close to 10 seconds, we're going to start throttling back a little bit. You can see the indicator on the right. I'm going to get into the blue zone and try to keep it around 8, 7-ish. If you get too close, 6 or 5, you can overshoot your target, and then you have to spin around and try again. Alright, and over on the left, you want to see the distress call symbol, and it says once you're in the blue zone for both distance and speed, you can safely drop out of frameshift drive. Alright, we can wait here a second. And targets are going to come up on the scanner in just a second here. There we go. All I really want to do is just scan all the targets. Alright, so he's wanted, which is really important. And he's from the Sirius Silver Mafia. So he is a free target. That was uncalled for. And missile lock. Oops. And I forgot to reset my... Multi-cannon going. Alright, get it within the blue and we can make tighter turns. boost, and it can also make a fairly tight turn here. Kind of wave around a little bit. Alright, there we go. It's a little sad because I'm supposed to be better than this. He's got missiles. Good times. Man. I'm really not good at combat. Oh well. So, really, it's my fault. I picked a fight with somebody who is more competent than me. Although, it is an NPC, so, like, I should feel pretty bad about it. Alright, so I need to get back to Spirit of Laylaps and or the other place, Patterson. And, so we got... Yeah. And it's behind me. And repair. So unfortunately I didn't take anybody down, so I'm not going to collect any bounties. I'm just going to have my tail between my legs, have to pay for repairing my ship, and then suck it up. Alright, right now we're kind of mass bound to this planet. So we're going to pull away from it a little bit, get up some speed, and then swing back around toward the ship.
Warning, frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits.
And 1 million meters. Once we get within 7.5 kilometers of the ship, we're going to call for request. Oops, that's it right there. So use thrusters to line it up, for the most part.
Landing gear deployed.
Make sure the landing gear is actually out. Helpful hint. Alright, that's almost 50,000 right there that I did not get anything for. Woo! Alright, so federal dropship with competent rating, probably not the best idea.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
Oops.
Landing gear retracted.
That's another one of my problems, is not remembering the landing gear. Alright, let's try again. So we can go to the same distress call, which has different people at it as well. Sure, why not? Same guy might try to attack me. If he does, that's alright. It's not end of the world.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3,
He may also cycle out.
1. Engage.
Come to think of it, what is that other one? That's a capital ship. Okay. Too fast. Might be able to still hit it if we line it up real carefully. Yep, I got it. Coming up from the planet, we got one here. Expert, so we're gonna leave her alone. Scout novice, that seems better. Louis right. So we're gonna let them scan me. Since I have literally nothing in my cargo hold, they're gonna be very disappointed and just go away. However, it's gonna give us plenty of time to line up a shot. Change to weapons. Get in nice and close. And then blaster. So we got a 35,000 credit bounty, and got some decent stuff here. So we can pick up materials, which will help us craft different things. Probably want to put away the hard points, but apart from that, we can go over and collect these. You have to be under 40 meters per second in order to pick it up, but at the same time, we started out pretty far away, so can burn a little bit until we get there. Once we're within about 350 to 300, that's when we start slowing back down. Line up in the middle of the target there, and then turn for something else. Might have another contact coming at us here. That's probably the old one still. Yep, new contact. Alright. Next question, who is he? Imperial Eagle. Okay, novice still, so we could probably take him out, no problem. So, there's like another group of guys behind me who are in a wing. They're going to check each other out a little bit here. It's also worthwhile at this point to check all of them out, scan everybody. You also get encoded, what are those things? Yeah, untypical shield scans and other piece of information like that, which sometimes can help you in creation of other stuff. So. Gotta watch that. So Imperial Eagle is pretty agile, but doesn't stand much of a chance against the weapon set that I have. So we're gonna come around here, thrust upward. Yeah, we already checked them out. Alright. So again, get within about 300-400 meters. And then let them have it.
Target destroyed. Cargo scope deployed.
Alright, so in the crosshairs, get the blue lined up with the object that's there. Get it approximately in the middle, and again, you gotta be going less than 40 meters per second to make it work. Got another contact coming from behind. These materials are not stored in your cargo hold, so they are not considered part of your cargo and therefore cannot be scanned off of you and cannot be stolen. At least as far as I know. Alright, next, who's this guy?
Cargo scope retracted.
Nope, not one again. So we already saw her earlier. And they're all competent. Usually don't want to take on a 3-person wing unless you know what you're doing, and I've already discussed I don't. So we'll go back after this one.
Cargo scope retracted. Cargo scope deployed.
What? Flew right by that one. Okay. Now, these are all also on timers, so you do have to be careful. You don't want to completely miss your available time to collect these things. Ouch. You also don't want to collide into them. Okay. So the wake just means that she is gone now. Got somebody else who just came in the system. Over to my right. Oh, that's out again. There we go. Yep, okay. Reset toward engine. And retract the fuel, or retract the scoop. fire up the engines. Let's see who else is here. Competent in a Cobra Mark IV? Yeah, no thanks. It's a very agile ship. It would not go well for me. Collected unexpected emissions data. Alright, so we're not really getting anybody here. Let's head out to next distress call, 813 light seconds away.
Frameshift drive charging.
Alright, then you can always check other stuff. So if you look at unidentified signal sources, there's weapons fire here. Threat 1 is perfect. So, at least for me. So I will pop into this signal, which is, again, have seen some low-level threat weapons fire. There are also some interesting, like, threat level 2 cargo. Nuts. Nope. Threat level 2, like protect a convoy or assault a convoy. So whoever has the wanted tag, you are to attack them. So makes for an interesting mission. Alright, here we go. Whoa. Alright, he's clean, so we want to leave him alone. This guy looks like the aggressor. Crimson Dynamic Novice. So again. Just flip around. He's totally taking an attack line, but not actually firing. So, due to the fact that he is wanted, we can just attack him. And the other guy here's got some pretty good evasive moves. Not that he's being fired at the moment. So, one hit got his... Not one hit, but one run, got his shields down and all that. Now he's down.
Target destroyed.
Anything good? No, not really. All these shielding sensors and shield emitters I've got full. Phase allies I've got a bunch, so I don't really need it. Steve Rawlings is the target from all that. And there's somebody following him. There. Mostly harmless in a Federal assault ship. Again, a Federal assault ship is pretty nasty to fight against, but he is novice, so we'll just go like this. Come on, get him. Good.
Target destroyed.
Is that it? Alright, it might just be him and the... Okay, so the other contacts were just the rewards from the other stuff, so I think we're probably good at this point, right? Yeah. Alright, so let's go back to the other one.
Cargo scope deployed.
Alright, line them up. I appear to have missed. I don't know quite how that's possible, but alright. That one I deserved. Hey Lana, how's it going? Just doing some community goals. Maybe. There we go. When in doubt, always bounce the cargo off the top of your ship to get it in front of you. It's definitely a sound rule. Nope, okay. There we go. Alright, we're out of here. So...
Cargo scope retracted. Frameshift.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy 3D stuff. I try to keep my eye on the HUD in the middle if I'm really trying to pull some stunts. Oh, we're almost out of seekers. That's too bad. Alright, so we can look at unidentified signal sources, worked pretty well for us this last time. So let's see what we can get here. Oh yeah, no problem. Degraded emissions threat 2, so that's going to work for us. Generally speaking, for me anyway, threat 1, threat 2 is going to be okay. When we start getting up into 3, 4, that's where it gets a little dicey, and anything above that, I'm just not even bothering without wingmen, or, yeah. I've got a couple of friends who play this, and they're pretty good with keeping with me, and can usually pincer on most of the enemies, keep them guessing where we're coming from. And I missed it. That's what I get for checking demographics. Only got about 10 minutes left on this one for this particular degraded emissions signal dissipates. Okay. So, beer. There's only one thing here. And we got novice and an adder. Cool, cool, cool. It's probably not even going to bother. In all honesty, I should have waited for the scan to complete and show me that they were, in fact, a pirate. So maybe that was a little bit on the irresponsible side. I'm totally not telling anybody. Oh, man. Alright, so we're not getting anything useful out of here. At least not yet. Pull around. Do another sweep through the debris here. Yeah, nobody else is coming here, so just jump out. Yeah, 1 second. Alright, so with a threat of 0, we're not going to get anything useful out of this probably. There might be some random cargo or something like that here, but for the most part, there's nothing, almost nothing of worth ever at these. And then literally we aren't getting any bounties from it because there aren't going to be any enemies at it. But oh well. Alright, got irregular emission data from that. Chemical storage units, we could use that.
Cargo scope deployed.
Missed. Okay. Oh boy. Alright. There we go. So I think on that one, it was going under 40 meters per second, but it wasn't going under 40 meters per second relative speed. It was going under 40 meters per second absolute speed compared to the debris field. So I think I smacked into it pretty hard. That's why it didn't make it. Alright, and then this is just the private data, I think.
Cargo scope retracted.
Yeah, I can't even target it. Okay, cool. Alright, we got more information. Okay.
Frameshift drive charging.
Gonna jump out, check out the next one.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Got another unidentified signal source pretty close to here. Degraded emissions, threat 3, so this is where it's getting a little bit dicey for me, but we'll try. Jump in, maybe have to jump out almost immediately, but give it a shot. It's not really supposed to move around like that. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe I'm just in some gravity wells or something. Just keeps moving me around a little bit. legacy firmware. Heat dispersion plate, I could use one of them. Alright. Vulture dangerous, okay. Nope. Grid emissions 0 again. Can also check out what happened here from this one. Okay. Alright, let's see how much we got now. Got 473,000 in bounties, which is pretty good. Obviously, you know, for a solo pilot like me, without a whole lot of experience with combat, yeah, it's not too bad for, you know, what, like an hour. So, it's doing alright. And then I'm going to switch, and we'll do some hauling instead. I'm only going to do 1 or 2 jumps of that because it is about as interesting as watching paint dry. Good news is that it is a very short distance. That is legal salvage. Wreckage components.
Cargo scoop deployed. Target destroyed.
Oh, lovely. Oh.
Cargo scoop retracted.
No, that was right.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Guess just wasn't lined up enough. I thought it was good enough. Because everyone knows I'm the arbiter of what's gonna work. Alright, so we're gonna go nice and slow. Occupied escape pod. Oh, good. So this is also good for search and rescue. I can go back to the station and get some search and rescue credits for finding these. Oh, no. I went the wrong way. Alright, wreckage components. Again, approach slowly. I bonked it a bit, so it's going to be slightly off kilter, and it's tumbling a bit, but it should be fine. Okay. Now we'll get out of here. Head back to the station and swap out for the hauler, which is currently at a supply station, which is 1 jump away. So it's not too bad. And now you can see there are more unidentified signal sources that have popped up. So there's all sorts of good stuff. And the signal sources and everything else are all refreshing themselves after a very short amount of time. Alright, how I am lining myself up for this, I'm going to aim for the bottom of this circle, and then I'm going to wait for the blue circle to expand out into it, and I'm looking for where it is hitting the yellow circle the last. So here, give or take, is where that's hitting the last, and so the station that I'm going to is on that side of the planet, the lower side here. So that's just one of my little rules that I've been using to try to figure out, like, you know, what angle should I be coming in at? Do I need to maybe come at this a little bit more shallow so can come a little bit more to this side? Goodness. And then come over. Once you start reaching a gravity well of a planet, you do end up getting interference from that particular planet, or moon, or whatever. Even ships sometimes, so you gotta be careful with how it's going to interfere with your flight plan. As you get close to a very massive object, it will start slowing you down automatically. So that can add minutes to your time if you come at an object from the wrong direction and get caught in a gravity well. It'll cause you to get speed limited. Alright, request docking.
Docking request granted.
And pad 6. Come up over the top here with thrusters. We're still going full burn at the moment, but that's alright. And here we are. Nope, that's 1. That's 6 up there. And we're on the opposite side. So we'll put the landing gear down a little bit early. And then I'm going to basically nose down over this and thrust left, and then tumble over the top a little bit. Which will get us almost there. Throttle back. There we go. Alright, so we'll restock for like 6,300. And you want to make sure that you come back to station every so often just to sell, because if you go out on a mission and you get killed while you're holding a whole bunch of vouchers, you will lose them. So alright, search and rescue contact. Right, I have black box, wreckage components, and an occupied escape pod. I will hand in all of those, and those get me extra rewards. So another 67,000. I don't suppose that's going to help me at all. Probably not. We have the bounties. Alright, so 574. No. Alright, I didn't think it was going to, but you never know. Alright, so we're going to find out where my ship is. It's here at Tau Ceti at Gilmore Orbiter. And we're just going to take one jump to jump there. I don't think I have any trade goods that are here that are worth... well. I don't think I have any trade goods here at Sirius which are worth taking out, which is too bad.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
Tau Ceti is this way. We have to boost out of being mass locked to the station. There it is. And now we can jump. goodness. Alright, I'm going to approach Gilmore Orbiter from lower side here. We have 64 cargo capacity, but I didn't pick anything up over there anyway, so it didn't matter much. Pull back a little bit on the stick, keep it about the edge of your screen, and we want to keep our time, as I said before, above 5 seconds, but usually just above 6, so right around 7. Come around this side. Pad 15. I don't remember where that one is. Python's a fairly small-ish ship, so we can get in here okay. Yep. Okay, there we go. Try to stay toward the middle. There we go. Toward the end. Try not to buzz the tower because they get a little upset about that. Alright, go over to the shipyard. I have stored a ship here. It is a Type 9 Heavy. This is my 724-ton cargo capacity hauler, so I'm going to use this ship. Try not to sell the other one accidentally. Go to the Starport Services. You can look at the commodities market. And what I will do normally is I will compare. If you've already been to Sirius, you can hit the compare button, search market, Sirius, Patterson Enterprise, or Spirit of Laylaps. Here you apply Spirit of Laylaps. It'll give you all the pricing that you can get if you purchase items here and if you sell them over there. So, oh, really? Prices came down a bit since last night. Good lord. Oh, okay. So wine is the big seller tonight for 6,000 profit. We're looking at every ton of wine is going to be bought at about 300 credits, and sold for 6,300 credits. So, alright. So here I'm going to just fill up on all of the wine. 724 tons.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Alright, and then we're not going to have any missions or anything like that which go to Sirius, so we'll just let it go. It's pretty good. The, what was it? Coffee, animal meat, I think were the two big ones last night that were selling for 10,000 credit profit each. So, I was doing okay. Alright, this is, you will notice, a bit more sluggish.
Landing gear activated.
You do have to watch out for the Type 9, especially if you clip the edges. It'll really do a number to your ship. Right, take the map, zoom out a little bit, go to Sirius, Spirited Laylapse, and plot route to market. This only works, by the way, if you have it in the map and under commodity. So once you get those set up, then you'll be able to do that. You'll also notice that this is going to take 2 jumps instead of 1 because it's when your ship is laden, you can't make... Really? Illicit cargo. Okay. Wine is illegal in Epsilon Eridani, which is the stopover between here and there. Right. Between here and Sirius. So basically, I just can't spend a whole lot of time in... Yeah, I know. Can't spend a whole lot of time in Epsilon Eridani. If you jump into an area and then get scanned by the police, you can obtain fines. Then you have to go pay the fines before you can do any business in the system. With the such short jumps, I took out the fuel scoop from the hauler, and now I only have cargo racks. And we're starting to decrease our heat from the sun, so we align with Sirius and jump.
Frameshift drive
The
charging.
frameshift drive itself does a lot, or produces a lot of heat, so you do have to be careful. You can overheat, and if you jump while you overheat, you can continually cause yourself damage. It's not like a... Jeez, hate that. Punk. You know, I saw the guy on my radar. I knew he was coming for me. And somehow, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. Frameshift drive will jump in before he gets me. No. And then I jump about a foot, so cool. Anyway. Yeah, and then you have to pay the fine before you can do business in the system. So, yeah, it's always fun. I also haven't checked I haven't checked Boop's influence in Xi at all in like the last 5 days. It's terrible. We're probably getting hammered by all of the random traffic that's coming through here. And I keep meaning to check in, see how things are going. And then I had work. And I was just like, I got a lot of stuff to do. Other side. So yeah, Python, a lot more agile than the Type 9. Alright, I'm pretty sure the... Pretty sure the landing pad's on the other side. Yep. So pull thrusters down. And keep working our way this way. Keep boosting, because whatever, it's gonna work. Make sure we're not gonna run into anybody. There it is. Alright, landing pad number 1.
Landing gear deployed.
Not nearly as balletic as the last one, but we'll get there. So 700 items at 6,000. Profit each is about 4 point. That's not quite that much, is it? 4.2 million? That'd be nice. Am I just off by a factor of 10? What? No. Okay. Well, apparently the price has dropped even further than that, so cool. Whatever. Alright, 2.5 million profit. And 2.8 million back as revenue, so not too bad. That means that, yeah. Okay, cool. Whatever. So, things that we really want. Alright, if bought at, we'll go out to Davies and Epsilon Air Donny. And they don't sell anything in the first place, really. However, yeah, there we go. Animal meat and coffee are still... Are they really selling for that much? Or buying? That can't be right. Yeah, still going for that? Alright. What was the other one? Where was I last time? Gilmore. Yeah, okay. There weren't that many, I don't think. So I think that was the problem here. Is that there were basically like practically no units of coffee or animal meat. We could have gotten it, but then it was only gonna sell for a little bit, or can only buy it for a little bit less instead of as much as we had here. Okay, I don't know. Maybe not. Whatever. So we'll make one more run. We'll do this one. So, no, not Gilmore. Hang on. Okay. It's the weirdest thing. Alright, well, let's just double check real quick. So we want to include only markets with large landing pads. Whole bunch of fleet carriers here. Just hoping I'm not going to regret it, because, like, that happens sometimes. Think I'm going to outsmart the system or whatever, and ends up not being the right move. Alright, so we'll try here. So I think I'm going to make this one last run. Take a look at the community goals, see my progress, and then head, grab a snack or something, and then be back with second half, which is going to be control. For third installment.
Frameshift drive charging.
I should probably warn people when I'm doing maneuvers, sorry. See how this is spinning on its axis this way. It's tilted slightly in toward the camera from where I am. So these stations always spin on one axis. And since the pole at the bottom didn't have lights around it, that told me that the actual entrance is up top. Otherwise, sometimes you can tell. I think once you have requested docking, yeah. The little icon on the left there that's turned green has arrows which tell you which direction the entrance is in. But you have to have requested docking first. Alright, so we're going to slow down. Go thrusters. Need a little bit more. Try to line this up in the middle of the doorway.
1,000 meters from touchdown.
Every time.
Landing gear deployed.
You have to make sure you're in the right place, because otherwise they get a little ticked off and can start shooting you. Which is what the warning was just about. Not that it probably would happen, but you know. Alright, so let's see. Agriculture, this is good. So the agriculture market here is good. We've got... Okay, sell at Sirius. And we want to sell to Spirit of Laylaps. We just updated the... Yeah, see, there's no market for animal meat or coffee. So we got such a small number here. I'm going to buy them out. So it looks like the extra jump is actually worth the money. And then at this point, we want to look for anything else. Again, they will take fish or fruits and vegetables as extra bonus. So you got wine, fish, fruits and vegetables, coffee, and animal meat. All the luxuries.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Alright, so we fill all the way up. And then get out of here. Head right back the way we came from. Should probably actually mark it as well.
Landing couple disengaged. Restrict speed until clear of the station perimeter.
Too far. Oh man. I mean, the good news is you got 5 minutes to leave before they start shooting you. So. Alright, so we'll pull back around this way. We'll get out of mass lock going in this direction, and then we'll pull around and head toward Sirius. Alright. Pull towards Sirius.
Frameshift drive charging.
Alright, swing around. I want to avoid putting our reticle on the planet because at the top right corner we see that it says impact. Really only happens if you're like really coming in hot and you end up missing and overshooting your goal. So if I miss the Spirit of Laelapse and I'm pointed here, that could be a potential problem. Not that it necessarily will definitely be a problem, but you don't want to take too many chances if you got that going on. Other side.
Docking request granted.
I think we want to be at the front of the ship, so this should be it. Alright, landing pad 01 right there.
Landing gear deployed. Docking successful.
Alright, so let's see how much this one sells for. Alright, so the animal meat, we only had 114 units, but still sells for a 1.1 million credit profit. Not too bad. The coffee is going to sell for 1.3. Again, profit. And fish sells for 2.1 million credit profit. Only 5,000 each, 5,000 per ton, whereas the others were much more expensive and had a much higher profit. But you know, things don't always work out 100%. Alright, and I wanted to check the mission board, see how we're doing. So, right, 574,000 for the turning in bounties. So, again, I'm not expecting much. I'm expecting I'm probably still going to just be in the bottom 25% here. But as long as I've turned one in, I'm good. And, alright, we're up to 8,072 tons. And we're still in the top 25%, so that's not surprising. And still, that's very good. Yep. Animal meat, coffee, fish, fruit and veggies, and wine. All of those count toward community goal. Alright, we've still got 5 days and just a little bit more. It's going to be 1 a.m. Yeah. 1 a.m. Eastern is when this refreshes every day. Usually they do some sort of, yep, last updated at 3:40. So, don't know exactly when that was, whether that was, okay, yep, only a couple minutes ago. Alright. So, I am going to go grab a snack and be right back.